And we're going to go live. And I'd like to welcome everybody watching to our webinar all about marketing e-commerce. We're calling this one How to Drive Traffic and Sales. And this one's going to be a little bit different in the sense of, I invited Trudy and Jill onto this one. We're going to have a very casual conversation. It's going to be more of like a podcast style than it will be sort of webinar. We do have 10 tips on what we can do. But for those that don't know the two of you, let's do a little bit of intro. So Trudy, can you just give us a high level of who you are for those rare people that haven't had the pleasure of meeting you before?
I feel like everybody has seen or met or heard of me in Canada, but absolutely. So I am the co-founder of Marketing for ECPs. I am the eye care person here. I've been in the eye care industry my entire life. I'm a licensed optician. I've worked in retail, wholesale. I've been the VP of training and marketing, which is where I got my feet wet in marketing. And then we launched Marketing for ECPs a little over 5 years ago.
And you own over 30 paintings of animals wearing glasses.
I do.
Yeah.
Between here and my house, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Jilly, please introduce yourself.
So I am a marketing director at Marketing for ECPs. I've worked there for over 4 years now, and I work with a ton of independent ODs. When it was a thing, we used to always go to all of the eye care conferences, kind of stay in the loop. But now we're all meeting virtually all the time. And yeah, I get the pleasure to speak to all of my clients about their businesses and get to learn on kind of a big scale about everything that's going on in the industry.
Cool. And one cool thing about you is, and very applicable to today's topic, is you published your own cooking book.
I did, yeah. And I did have to create an e-commerce store, or it's up there so you can buy it. So anyone can log in, check that out, the bbcookbook.com. But yeah, I've done it a bit. I mean, I only have one product to sell, so it's not a super complicated e-store, but at least I've got a little bit of experience with that.
So please tell everybody, what does the BB stand for when you say bbcookbook.com?
It's the Basic Bitch Cookbook.
I love it. It's an excellent cookbook with a lot of good recipes, but you've sat in the seats of probably everybody watching, right? So you've had to go and create an online store. You've had to market it. So we're going to hear some of your firsthand experience today, which is amazing. Let's just look at an agenda. So we're going to do a quick icebreaker. We're going to talk about kind of the purpose of an online store, really talk about existing versus new patients and what the strategies are there. We'll go into 10 tips for marketing and driving traffic and sales to the store. And then as always, we'll have an open discussion. We'll answer any questions. If you have questions along the way, that's kind of the benefit of showing up live, is you get to send us use the chat function, and we'll just stop what we're doing and dead stop. We'll answer your question live. So here's a quick icebreaker. We're talking about e-commerce. What's the last thing you purchased online? So let's start with you, Trudy.
Okay, well, first off, everybody can participate, so feel free to put in the chat feature what was your last purchase online as well. So it's funny because COVID obviously has changed a lot of buying behaviors, and mine. I wasn't an online shopper. I had tried shopping a couple of times online and didn't have the greatest success, so I just didn't shop online. But COVID taught me that I really like shopping online. Probably the last thing that I've purchased, I'm getting ready for ski season. It is snowing here in Calgary, if you're not from Calgary. And I purchased a new ski jacket and some new ski boots online.
Cool. Jill, what'd you buy?
Some fresh new earrings. That was my most recent purchase.
Nice. And for me, I actually bought it last night. In the world of teleconferencing, I came across a camera. So, a lot of times we'll have multiple people in a room having a discussion, and it's one of those, one can mute, it's the worst experience. I'm sure you guys can all attest to that. So I actually went and bought this 360 camera with all these microphones, and it switches to whoever's talking in the room. So the next time we do webinars and stuff, Trudy and I are in different rooms, we can be in the same room. So I'm excited to showcase that in the future. We have a gift for you guys. So just for attending today and anyone that watches this, we've created some social collateral, things you can use on Facebook and on Instagram to help promote your online store. And so it's all live now. You go to our website, marketingforecps.com, and go to the webinar tab. The first thing there will be to download a zip folder of these resources. There's 3 ads that we kind of built for you to use. Click that button, it just downloads right on your computer and you can use them. So yeah,
there's a Facebook post, a LinkedIn, Twitter post, the Facebook one you can use on Instagram, and then there's a Facebook cover if you want to put it on your Facebook as well. Cool.
So let's talk about purpose. You know, the pandemic hit. This is what I saw. You know, people, practices wanted to continue. They wanted to continue servicing patients. They wanted to find a way to keep revenue in the door. So we understand why there was such a rise of online stores kind of March, April, May. But what's the purpose in general? What do you guys think are the main reasons why businesses should be investing in an online store right now?
Well,
so let's start with you.
Yeah, I'll jump in and just say, I firsthand experienced how crazy it was when practices shut down and COVID hit. It was a rush to try to figure out how to do business virtually and online. And we just saw so much interest. People were coming to us, you know, we, as a marketing agency, they're coming to us, you know, to see if we did e-commerce, to get advice on selling online. And what we did at that time is we just dropped everything. We investigated every e-commerce solution in the industry. So from e-stores that sell contact lenses and dry eye drops to frame catalogs to you know, a full eyewear e-commerce options, we just looked at what was available across the nation, really, like even overseas, and then put that all together in an ebook to let our clients know what the options were. But I think, you know, people saw it, number one, as an opportunity to still do sales and revenue while closed. So I saw that as probably the number one.
Cool. Jill, why do you think, you know, what do you think the opportunity is for practices that maybe have joined the webinar, they don't have a store, they're kind of debating, why should they do it?
For me, it's a pretty straightforward answer. If people are ordering online, there's an opportunity there. So it's something that I think a lot of, at least for me, it's like it's a simple, easy option. It's very convenient. So if you don't offer it and I want it, I don't want to leave my place. I'm uncomfortable going out, you know, especially COVID, whatever it may be. Even if it's just cold out, I want to order it right to my home. I pay for convenience. So I think a lot of people are in the same boat as me. So it's just an opportunity. If you're not there, you're going to miss out.
Cool. The Vision Watch does this like annual internet influence study, and they had a number. And you know, I'm going to ask both of you guys, what do you think that number is of how big online optical sales are for people buying stuff online?
Like contacts and glasses?
Everything, yeah.
And you're at, like, as of right now?
The number came in 2018, so it's still a couple years, but it's eclipsed this number.
I'm just gonna say 30%.
Cool. And Jill, I know you're smirking because you probably read ahead.
Yeah, I was like, why are you asking me this? I think I already know. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure it's 2 billion.
Yeah. So we know that the number's over $2 billion, right? Sits annually. So I think practices are looking at this like, you know, how do we get a piece of that? Obviously, we know consumer behavior is changing. We know COVID has changed just behaviors in general. There's, you know, I'm somebody that is okay to leave the house. We have a lot of people that aren't, and they still need services. And so, you know, how do we service them? I think that's really what the opportunity is. But what have we seen? So this is what we're looking at is Google Trends over the last 12 months. And the red line shows people that have typed in specifically buy glasses online. So there's really no, you know, we know what they're trying to look for. And the blue is buy contact lenses. So what we're seeing is they actually remain pretty steady. There hasn't been, you know, with the glasses, definitely it's gone up. not massively, and there's peaks and valleys, but we're seeing it's pretty consistent over the last year. So what you would have anticipated a huge spike with the lockdown, it's kind of dropped back down to been normal. So that's what we're seeing kind of across the board. But this is what I think people were expecting. So the dark blue is projections. I launched this online store. I'm projecting huge revenues, and the actuals, this is what we're hearing from practice owners right now. And my question to you two is why are, in a world where 2 billion sales are happening online a year, we know consumers are shifting. We know that people are staying indoors more. We know they're not coming in as much. We've launched all these online stores. Why are we not seeing the sales at the independent level that we expected? So, Jill, I'm going to ask you that first.
Sure. For me, I would say that the reason why, the online store launches and it's not an immediate success is just like launching any website or any business. If you're not actively trying to promote it, how are people going to know that it exists? So yeah, even just building your website, you need to have all the foundations in place, but to really, really see a return, you're going to have to get the word out there. And it can be, I actually don't want to jump too far ahead because I'm going to start giving away all of the tips of what we're about to go through. But yeah, it just can't be that expectation. Google will just have indexed this brand new website, which is your online store. You kind of have to have a little bit of patience and understanding that your patients need to learn about it, your current patients, and new people need to learn about it.
Yeah, Trudy?
Well, it's like almost anything that you do in business is you can put something in place, but you still usually have to do some footwork to make it happen. And absolutely, the one thing that we see is people launched these e-stores and then they weren't really sure what to do with it, how to get it going, what was working. And, once practices reopened, it's almost like they, have stopped focusing on it. And I get it because they're busy. But it's no different. You buy a bus. If you want the bus to move, you've got to drive the bus. And so this is that same thing. If you want your e-store to be successful, you truly need to drive it. We've talked to some super successful practices. There's one in downtown Calgary that's known for having, the most successful e-commerce e-store in Canada. And a lot of it is they make it happen every single day. They're driving people to that e-store.
And you've included some of those tips, and we'll get to those of what they're doing. I think for me, the big thing is that when you talk about online, it's hard to just all of a sudden expect people that are used to buying in store to then replicate that same experience online. And if they are online shoppers, how are you standing out? How are you competing with people that have built their entire companies over decades with an online experience? It's one of those, field of dreams, build it, they will come. An online store is like a retail location. It's an additional retail location. And everybody watching this, you pay lease rates and you look at prime lease locations of where's the foot traffic, what's convenient parking. All of these things go into your decision of your location. Online is another location, only it's way more competitive because now you're not competing with people in your area, you're competing with people across the country and even internationally. And so the reason I think we're not seeing the influx is that we're not guiding people there. And if we're trying to compete directly with the online retailers, and that's going to be a hard sell if you're not really committed to doing what's necessary. And I'm going to show some of those in a bit. And I think here's the other thing. It's the expectation that it comes from, are these existing patients or new patients? And so, I've heard many times, I've launched an online store. I want to sell our products all across Canada, which immediately says, I want to open up the national market and go and get all these new patients. And, we go, what's the first question any marketing agency is going to ask you when you say that? What's your budget? And be like, there's no budget. I want to make sure that we get there. And that's where we have to, part of this is an expectation alignment of saying, okay, what can we do then to really help drive it? And I think today, I want to focus in on the difference between the opportunity with your existing patients, increasing them, coming in more often, spending more money, utilizing your store as a tool to your business. And from a new patient, we do have a couple tips there, but it's a different expectation alignment. Trying to go after new patients with an online store, you're throwing yourself in a pool of all the online players, where with existing patients, you're just trying to increase patient value, increase patient retention, and you can use it as a way just to increase overall revenue at this point, especially because you're limited with how many patients you can see in a day. The online store can be a great way at kind of that retention. Anything to add?
Kevin, I think you touched on something that's important too, and that is, people launch an online store and they think people will find it. One, that they're going to easily transition from navigation on the website to, it's going to all of a sudden start showing up on Google, which is not true. And the one thing, and we talk about this just with websites, is you can't just build it and expect people to come to it. So you again have to look at advertising that can work in your geography to drive your targeted patients to it.
Totally. Let's look at the competitors in the online space. Obviously, there's a ton, right? Like these are 5 of them. When you do a Google search like buy glasses online, and who are the big ones that show up. So here are the ones that your consumers, your patients are presented with as well. And what I did is I went on and went on their websites and said, what's the starting at, right? What's the starting at price on just these top 5? And it's pretty funny. So we have $45, Warby Parker, okay, $150, 9 with Clearly, 7 with Smart Buy Glasses, 25 with Zenni. And when I see this, right? So they're promoting $7 frames, $25 frames. My big question is, who wants to be competing here? Right? I think that's the point. If you're trying to go after new patients, this is what you're competing against, is a $7 frame. And when I go to our client stores, I see $300 frames plus $150, $200 lenses, kind of the $500 complete set sometimes, versus the $7 sort of, it's hard to compete there. And so, my advice, my strategy here, and is really when it comes to new patients versus existing, let's focus on those existing patients. And, Jill, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to ask you, what's your opinion on this when it comes to existing patients, and why should we be focusing here?
Well, they're always the lowest hanging fruit. You already have a relationship with them. You already have an open dialogue. You can communicate with them. You can re-engage with them in lots of different ways. A lot of my clients have a massive database, and they don't really take a lot of advantage of it. It's the cheapest way to increase your revenue, is to just talk to these people already and just try to shift their habits and get them to use the online store instead of having to come in and visit every time. So yeah, lowest hanging fruit for sure, and cheapest.
Trudy, any thoughts on focusing on these existing patients?
Well, I do want to backtrack just a little bit, Kevin, to your previous slide, and that was, we looked at competitors in the online space, and you highlighted majority eyewear competitors. So the actual biggest opportunity online that is getting taken away from practices is contact lenses, and it's still the number one eye care purchase being sought after online. And there's some, obviously big players, 1-800-Contacts, all the different contact lens companies or online portals out there as well. But I think the opportunities are to understand the consumer behavior, like your existing patients. Why are they leaving you and going online, right? So number one is it because of price? Are they trying to see if there's a lower price? Or is it because they want the convenience? They don't want to buy an annual supply, so they kind of want to buy when they're ready to buy. And understand how you can now capitalize on those buying behaviors.
Yeah, that actually brings me to kind of a point. I have one client that has done all of the research in this space, and he actually offers a price match guarantee on contact lenses. So he's looked at all of these retailers online, and actually with rebates that he gets from his suppliers, he's able to match it and still make a profit. So that's a massive kind of educational piece, is everybody assumes that online is going to be the cheapest option, like with those other competitors, but it's more about educating your current database and saying, hey, actually, I've done all this research. I've got this guarantee if you can't offer that, and really kind of explain why they should order from you online.
The other thing I think it's super important to really consider right now is, if you don't start selling to your patients online, do you maybe take the chance of losing them completely? So I'm not going to name names, but some of the biggest, online eyewear contact lens retailers out there know that by getting you in the door, they have the ability to sell you more and more and more. So is that an opportunity as maybe even online exams start to happen? Like, are we going to lose to these big competitors because we're not focusing on it ourselves?
Yeah. And, when we talk about new patients versus existing, if your target is to go after new patients, I will tell you right off the bat, it will be expensive, because you are competing with advertising budgets where the companies are spending millions of dollars a year on agencies, not even on the actual media and the reach. They're actually spending it on creative teams and people of how to kind of get them. So to focus purely on new is expensive, but focusing on existing, we've got tips here that shouldn't cost you anything, which is great. So let's dive into those. Trudy, I'm going to have you explain that first one, because you talked about Calgary or Downtown Vision as being a big player with e-commerce. They sell a ton through their online store. You called them and said, how are you guys so successful? And what did they tell you?
They were actually on a webinar we did, shortly after COVID hit and practices were shut down. So they didn't launch because of COVID. They were already in the online space. They already saw the value of it. And so they were actually on our webinar as well, which has a recording, so you can always go back and listen to it. And their number one way is to get somebody to sign up right now. So they sign every single patient up for the online portal. It doesn't mean don't still try to sell your patient a supply of contact lenses in the office, or supply, like if you're doing eyewear e-commerce, not to showcase and try to sell them on the spot. Your window is still while that patient is in the practice, but if there is any opportunity, it's also getting them signed up. I know some of the online platforms are actually coming out with widgets or order windows that you can put on a laptop, you can put on a tablet, so you can actually help the patient right there and just say, I'm going to sign you up right now. But it's getting them in the portal.
So you're saying when they come in at point of purchase, like they're ready to leave, they've done that, they're saying, hey, let's take a few minutes. Let's introduce you, walk you through our online portal. Let's get you signed up, teach you how to use it.
Yeah.
And then say, hey, when you're ready to reorder, we want you to reorder online.
Yeah.
You're almost teaching them to do that and creating that.
Put their prescription in there already for them. So it's simple as that. They don't need to do any searching whatsoever. They already know it's in there.
It's in there. You're doing it right in front of them. So when they get any communications from it, they're not feeling like it's spam, because they've gotten, that experience right in front of them. And yeah, they are now a part of the online experience, and they feel like they're expecting you to communicate about the online.
Cool.
The other thing that I think helps in this sense is the ones that I have talked to that have become really successful with any e-store e-commerce platform, they have somebody in the office who becomes that e-commerce champion that is really helping drive the whole initiative.
Love it. Jill, I'm going to go to you for number 2. You know, your role a lot has to do with strategy. So, you know, this seems a little bit strategic when it talks about focusing on the messaging and buying local, supporting local. So, you know, why is that a good strategy?
Well, especially right now, people are very aware that small businesses are suffering, and they make a decision. A lot of people make a decision to help those businesses. We're in the communities all the time. We want to support people that we know. So really talking about that and what it means to your business, I think is a smart move to take, you know, especially if it's going to be the same price either way. What is the benefit, and why should your patients support you instead of a massive online retailer? And it's to keep your community afloat. So yeah, absolutely capitalize on that. Use your relationships and put that message out there as a reason to come to your online store. I talked about that a few times. You have to explain why they should use it. So every time we're doing any type of marketing, we're talking about what's your unique selling point? What makes you different? Why should somebody come to you versus go to your competitor? And this is an exact example of, you know, that type of messaging.
Do you think people are willing to pay more? So you said if price is the same, but what if you are charging more? Do you think there's a premium that people are willing to pay to support and shop local?
I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, I think a great example of that is the farmers market. So for anybody that's shopping farmers market, typically you're paying a little bit more, you know, than you are at a you know, a massive grocery chain. But the experience, you know where it's coming from. You know that there's a pride in putting money back into the local economy and supporting you know, your neighbors and people down the street. So this isn't just a fad. I think Shop Local has been around a little while, but it really hit home with the shutdown and with the local businesses being hurt so much with everything going on. And I think that people are leaning into the idea of supporting local businesses more. And so, you know, I think messaging like this that you're seeing on your screen, it doesn't have to be glaring. It just, I think it does have to be obvious and, you know, give them a reason. In this case, you know, delivery is free. Great. Perfect. I can support somebody locally. I can have the convenience of online. I can have it delivered to my door. You know, what more do I need here? Right. So, yeah, I love it.
And just to add some ammunition to that, you know, I've done a talk for years at different events on, you know, how to take business away from online. Like literally before all of the practices were really investing in online, I was out there teaching how to take business away from some of these big online retailers. And when I was investigating these, you know, these online retailers that are selling contact lenses and eyewear, I really saw some things that were important for you to educate your patients on. So number one is a lot of the ones that show up. So if I put in, you know, eyeglasses Calgary right now or something like that, there's a really good chance that I am going to see a number of options. And as you start to click through them, and one that drove me crazy was called my CanadianOptician.com or something. And it was all, looked like it was, you know, legit Canadian portal that you were ordering from, and it wasn't. As you started to dive deeper, you saw that it was coming from overseas. And so I think there's a couple things. One is to really educate people that when they're buying from you, they're truly buying from their eye doctor, right? And they're truly buying from a Canadian local business, and that there's not always clear evidence of where you're buying from and where that product is coming from. So it could be completely outside of Canada. Other thing, this goes back to the eyewear, is I was shocked when I went to a couple of them and started to put in my prescription and put in my measurements, and it got to PD and stake heights, and they were doing default PDs and default stake heights. And so, you know, what does that mean? It means that, you know, you're not getting somebody measuring your eyewear properly. And in some prescriptions like mine, which was a -5, if my PD is out by a couple, that's not good. And so educating the patient and the public on why choose your portal over other portals as well.
And just for some resources, for anybody that uses like J&J products and things, I know they have a great AccuView library. They, over the shutdown, uploaded and created a lot of content actually supporting Shop Local as well. So if you go to AccuView library, you can download a ton of this Shop Local content. We have the free gift today. You can download some of that as well. They have some, there's resources available for you. So but it's another thing to reach out to your sales reps and ask what collateral they have. I know these marketing teams work really hard at creating this stuff for you. And so sometimes you don't have to do it yourself. They already have it. You can upload it and use it right out of the gates. Trudy, staying on with you, and this had to do more with kind of the first one, tell patients how to use it. I think actually having an instruction card, right, and how to use it, and putting it in the bag when they walk out, taping it to the receipt or emailing it out or what have you, instructions on how to use it. Sometimes it's just, I don't know how to use it, right? I'm uncomfortable with online shopping because I've never done it. Having that step-by-step instructions on a handout could be a great way to encourage use, right?
Well, I think just having that handout as well. So some patients are in a rush. They're not maybe going to give you that couple seconds to sign them up right there. So telling them that you have, an online portal, what they can purchase from the online portal, maybe telling them you're going to sign them up after they've left and send them the login, or give them, some type of handout and instructions. One, it's an advertising play. Again, this is an opportunity in the handout instructions for you to maybe give them an incentive to sign up, or give them a discount or a coupon or something, and get them in that portal. Again, going back to some of the strategies of these big online retailers is they know if they can get you on there once, if they can get you to order once, you now have taught yourself of how easy it is, and you're going to do that over and over.
Yeah, a lot of them actually offer a very reduced price for the first purchase, just get you on there.
Or free.
Once you're in, or once you're in, then you're in.
We've all seen the free glasses, your first pair of glasses free, right? And they know if they can get you to get one pair of glasses, now they have you for life. They've got your information, they can advertise to you, communicate to you, they can keep, telling you to buy more product, and you do, because it's easy.
Jill, with you and your clients, well, let's move to number 4. Can you kind of explain the role that email can play into, you talked about people have these database lists, and you use the word, cheap and expensive way to market. Where does email fit in?
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity, and people don't capitalize it on it enough. You're actually able to pull from a lot of patient management softwares very segmented lists. So the more specific you can be, I think the better that this is even going to work. So a lot of people are already paying for some type of software that communicates directly with your patients that's actually already integrated with your system. So Visualize, shout out, you can do that through Visualize. So then you can actually pull a list and go, hey, out of my database of people that have been here within the last 2 years, pull a list of people who are contact lens wearers. And then let's send a specific email to them about the online store, or about some type of contact lens promotion, and let's go and hit them with something that is most relevant to them. This can work for other parts of your business as well. For example, a lot of people have on their online stores, they have dry eye products. So you should be able to identify those patients within your practice, and you should be able to pull a very tailored list of everybody that suffers from dry eye, and you can hit them with an email pertaining to that. The more tailored those emails are, it's speaking to you. You open it up and you're like, oh, I do need that. I need that reminder. And then you'll click on it, open it up, much more likely to actually engage with that. So huge opportunity. And a lot of it is just as easy as touching base with your patient management software, asking them these questions. They'll help you pull the lists. They're quite simple. A lot of the time, some of these will actually send emails for you. If they don't, you can acquire the list and you can send it out yourself through another third party like MailChimp or something like that.
Yeah, they want you to use it. They've invested right in its
Yeah.
capability, and it just makes sense. Like in here, we have email everybody that we have an online store, but you're saying dive a little bit deeper and start segment your audience. Right. We want to hit people with the right message at the right time with that right message, and I think that's really where we see marketing work. One announcement for us is we're actually building out. We have done email marketing for clients, but we of actually putting together a product that we hope to launch early next year, where it's things like this, where you can put together frequency and different types and lengths of emails. And so we know this is really where an opportunity is to reach that database and understanding segmentation and putting together sort of campaigns of how to get them to do these things. So I love that. Jill, I'm going to stay with you and let's talk about video tutorials and how to use, like, again, to me, it's all about getting people onto the store once seems to be the key. Trudy's talked about it. How do you see video playing a role and a tool in all of this?
Yeah, I love video. It's super simple. This is exactly the same as one of the previous points of handing a card out, but let's make it even easier. There's online tools where you can record your screen. So one that we use a lot is called Loom, and it's free. So LOOM. And you can literally click and show people step by step, this is where you sign in, this is how you fill your cart, this is how you check out, and you can send them that video. Again, you could send that via email, you can send that via text message. You can have it on your website, so it's easy to access. As a little intro and a guide, I think it's easier than trying to follow step by step written out instructions, although that does help. It depends on your patient and kind of their age and what they prefer, but the video is usually faster and easier to explain the same thing. And it doesn't need to be the most polished professional thing like that. Everybody gets too hung up on that. It does not matter. Just share your screen. Well, I'm sitting on the floor right now, so it doesn't matter. People are just here for the information. They want to figure it out. So yeah, create that quick video. I definitely recommend Loom. LOOM. Check it out.
And the other thing is, there's never a time when the power of the doctor doesn't work. So the doctor, the practice owner, the doctor recording that video and sending it out to patients, it's coming from the doctor. And so again, it's a recommendation coming straight from the practice doctor saying you should be ordering online.
Yeah, when it comes to opportunity, actually, I try to find a supporting video to show an example, and no one's doing this. And I would think in my head, if you name your video, how to buy glasses online, how to buy contact lenses online, people are searching these things on YouTube. Your online store may be the reason, might show up. And if it shows up on YouTube, that might be a way to attract new patients because people aren't searching these things. Or nobody's posting, but they are searching. So it's a great way to kind of have your supply meet the demand. So video tutorial, great way. Highly recommend that. Trudy, let's stay with you. Incentives, contests. What are some ideas? Things you talked about it earlier. You kind of alluded to it that actually get people. We're talking about instructions, but what can we do to push them? A little bit further.
It could be everything from, I did say free glasses, but no, the chances of an optometry practice giving away free glasses is more limited. However, you could do a draw for something like a free pair of sunglasses or win your purchase back. It could be something like, a gift with purchase, which we're talking about, a discount and rebate. It could even be, something, buy one, get one, like anything that sounds more like an offer I don't want to let go. Years ago, we used to talk about the value of the dollar off. Instead of saying it's 25% off, say it's $100 off. It's still 25% off, but $100 off just sounds so much more enticing. So it's advertising 101. What can I give you or, offer you that's going to make you do an act?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jill.
I really like any type of loyalty program. It tends to work for me, at least. I go to the same gas station to collect points all the time, and I'll look for it. So I'm like, well, I might as well continue to go to this one to collect the points. So it's the same thing as like an online. Oh, if I keep ordering my contacts online, then eventually I'll get something back for it. So I'm accumulating points or whatever it may be. I think that can be a really kind of a good tactic to keep people sticky and re-engaging, and not just ordering once, but continuing to order online.
And Kevin, you had mentioned it earlier, like, talk to the sales reps, talk to the supplier partners, because they not only might have rebates, they might have gift with purchase that you can offer as part of the incentive. They might be able to do some co-op as far as the incentive or the giveaways. So really check with the suppliers on what they can kind of collaborate and partner on.
Yeah, I think the key though is to get them, in order to win, in order to do all this, you got to get them online, right? So, having a free gift with the online purchase, maybe that we talked about first time discount. I have on here exclusive online inventory, right? So having some of those frames you can only buy online. Maybe it's a way of, if you have somebody in your optical and you're trying on things and they just don't find what they're looking for, you can say, hey, we also have more inventory online. Just drive them in as a different way. Referral discounts, contest, free delivery, or a discount if they pick it up, kind of like a reverse sort of convenience way. And then, still trying to drive the same behavior, which is that annual supply of contact lenses. If they buy an annual supply online, or if they buy an annual supply and they do it online, here you can earn a gift card right off the bat to use for another purchase. And if you make it just big enough to matter, but just low enough they can't buy anything, then they also have to use real money to actually use it. So those are some of the strategies that I've seen work everywhere. So okay, practice website. So many times, we say, buy from my website, buy from me, and we go there and it just doesn't look like somewhere that I want to spend my money or my time or my energy or my effort. So why is this an important one? Trudy, I'm going to start with you. If there's ever a soapbox that you'll stand on, I think it comes down to making sure that your website maintains a brand image. It looks like what you're expected to look like. And so why is this important?
Well, first and foremost, all roads lead to the website. Here's my soapbox. Everything that you're going to do as far as driving to your online store is probably going to go through your website. Every e-commerce option that I've seen really attaches to the practice website. And so number one, they're landing on your website. And I can tell you over COVID, I saw numerous practices launching a brand new e-store on an old platform, a website from 2009 that wasn't even mobile responsive, and yet they're attaching a new online portal. It just didn't make any sense to me. So yes, I'll be the first one to say is your foundation, which is your website, is the most important. Don't launch a new e-store or e-commerce platform without updating your foundation.
Love it. Yeah, it's important because the website sets the tone for the experience they're going to get, the price they're going to pay, the products they can expect. All of these things are set within 3 to 8 seconds. And so if you want them to come to your website and then take further action to actually buy from you online, you have to create that. We do have a question. I'm just going to go here. Yeah, Shazeen, please. What's your question? I think you can speak if you like. You are muted though. Okay, I'll let you
put it in the chat box.
Yep, or you can just put it right in the chat box if you'd like as well.
We're going to also leave some time at the end to answer some questions, but if you put the question in the chat box, we'll find it.
Yeah, cool. So while you're doing that, let's move on to paid social. So I kind of highlighted this as like a new patient tactic, paid social media campaigns on Facebook and Instagram. This is a way to drive people to your store. And I think that understanding, do you have delivery constraints? Are you going to be packaging and actually mailing it out? Or is your online store simply to drive people in for pickup? So if you are a pickup only with your e-commerce store, then you really want to focus your marketing in on a geographic area that people are willing to drive. So with paid social media, you can target geographies, you can target demographics. You can really look at people that are willing to shop online, people that are looking for glasses online, contact lenses online, dry eye drops, the things that you would have on your e-commerce store, and then put together campaigns and just target those people, and you can let it run. If some work at the beginning, you can actually just let it run and optimize slowly as you go. You can work with agencies for this. Here's examples where you're showcasing your online store in an ad. You tell them to shop local at your fingertips. You have the shop now button. It runs as a Facebook post or as an Instagram post, and you just let it run. In this situation, you are going to want to look at ROI. So, if you're investing $100, $500, $1,000, you want to make sure that your store is set up, your website set up, that it's actually producing sales, that you are earning a return on investment, because specifically you are trying to get them to buy from you. It's not to come in, and you can actually monitor and measure how effective it is. One tip that we have is, when you do these, take that consumer, take that patient directly to the online store. Don't have them go to your homepage and then have to find. You want to take them directly to what you want them to buy. Think about Amazon. They created the one-click buy as easy as you can. So really bring that person through the buying funnel to that last page. Jill, any comments on social media campaigns and what you've seen sort of like work? Any strategies there?
Yeah, the only thing that I do want to kind of caveat when we talk about this is sometimes you have to sign up for the online store and have your kind of portal. So it can be a little bit of a barrier to entry. So just be aware of those things when you're going to be setting any type of campaign up, and putting money behind it. Is the more barriers that you have and the harder it is to order, the less likely you're going to get your return on investment. So take the time to understand what it's like for somebody brand new. Click on your own ad, go through the whole thing, go through the process, understand, a lot of people will see these ads on their mobile phone. So have you made sure that once you click and you visit your online store, is it easy to use and navigate on your phone? And if it's not, then maybe you got to fix that before you're going to put any money onto a social platform in particular, where most people are accessing on their phone.
The other thing I think that we can, kind of add to this is, I know a lot of practices see that maybe trying to attract new patients to their online portal isn't the best solution, because they're not my current patient. I don't have their prescription. And this is still an opportunity. This is still number one, a great opportunity to attract somebody in your targeted geography to potentially still see that you have an online portal, but maybe book an appointment. So I think we could switch up advertising to shop now or book appointment. And it doesn't have to be just as targeted as the ads that you're seeing here. We can really customize something to what the practice wants to do. So if you've got empty holes in your schedule, and people want to know that you sell online, but they might need an appointment at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jill, I'm going to go back to you for number 9. You've lived this life. You sort of are a social media influencer with, with your cooking book and with some of the grocery chains. Why is this a good strategy for people, and how can they go about partnering with local influencers?
Yeah. Influencers, especially micro influencers, they usually have a smaller audience of people who trust them and look for recommendations. Like the volume of people that ask me personally for restaurant recommendations and stuff is huge. And they know I'm going to give an honest opinion about it, because, that's what I care about and that's what I'm passionate about. So it's much more trusted than an ad for the most part. So that is usually why people want to go on there. It's like an amplified word of mouth marketing. One of the things you always have to pay attention to when you're working with influencers is who's following them, and do they align with your target demographic? So always pay attention to that when you're selecting people to promote your online store, or your products, or whatever it may be. Just pay attention. You can get them to give you insights about their audience. So such as, where's your audience located? How old are they? Are they male or are they female? Think about that before you engage with the influencer in question, because if they're If all of their audience is in a different city or is way too young for whatever you're trying to promote, it's not going to be as effective. But another way to actually track your ROI, and what you might see with a lot of influencers locally, would be give them a promo code. So that way you can actually track and see, okay, I did this partnership with this influencer. I either paid them this or gave them contra or whatever. What did I actually get back? So promo code is an easy way to track that. There's always a space in your online store to enter any kind of coupon code. So that's my biggest recommendation when it comes to influencers.
One of you guys should talk about how do they find an influencer in their area, and what do they need to pay them?
Okay. Well, how to find is research. There are some agencies that try to connect influencers, but it doesn't need to be that complicated. You can just look online, look on Instagram, look up local hashtags, see the profiles that are using those hashtags, visit them, see how many followers they have. You can even kind of Google bloggers will show up, local blogs will show up in Google, and you can kind of click through and see, do they seem to align with your target demographic, and you reach out. When it comes to paying them, that's all over the place. Every person has made their own decision of what their time is worth and what their audience is worth. So just have in your head what you are willing to pay, and then leave it as an open conversation. You don't have to put all your cards on the table right away. A lot of influencers will actually have a media kit that they'll send to you. And they'll go, hey, this is what I do. If you want this many posts, this is the price, or whatever it may be. But you usually can negotiate a little bit. There's literally no set price. And you just have to understand, people know their own value. They judge their own time differently. So just keep it as an open dialogue and take it from there.
My kids are a little too young, but I empathize with the parents with teenagers. Then when you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they have already decided they are going to invest in being an influencer, and having that conversation of trying to understand exactly what that is. So influencers do very, very well. The top ones in the world make a lot of money just promoting other people's companies. So, we may put together some more information. We get a lot of questions when it comes to influencers. People love the idea of it. It's a lot more work than you probably think, but it can yield a lot of great results. So
yeah. Also keep in mind, influencers make content for you. So sometimes they get hired for that. Like, oh, this is great. Now I don't have to come up with my messaging. I don't have to create the post. I don't have to take the photos. Someone else is going to do that. And that is time, and time is money. So just another angle to think about the value that you're getting back is the promotion, but also the content that they're creating
on numerous platforms, because now with TikTok just blowing up, typically an influencer will be on Instagram and TikTok, potentially Facebook. They might have a blog. So it's like kind of omni-channel in a sense, right? You're reaching them in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, you can sometimes get a backlink. It's good for SEO value. You get there's a whole bunch of online value that comes with it, for sure.
Cool. So number 10. So you jumped ahead on this one, Jill, but let's talk about making it easy. So, why is this important?
We just see conversion rates drop drastically. So when I say conversion rate, just for everybody on the line, I mean the percentage of people that actually follow through and don't just add to cart, but make your purchase. So we're always kind of analyzing and looking at that online. The more difficult it is, people are impatient. They're just going to leave, and they're going to go to the next option, and they're going to purchase from them. So the less barriers to entry, the easier it is. I mean, we do experiments like this at our company all the time. I have a good example is we did some A/B testing where we drove 50% of traffic to one online request appointment form that had 10 fields in it, versus another one that we reduced to 4 fields to make it as simple as possible. And the short form had increased conversion rate of over 100, I think it was 149%. So just making people type less on their desktop or on their phone helped that much. So keep it in mind. It is massive. People are a lot of the time shopping on their phone. I can't stress that enough. The easier it is, the more success you're going to have.
Yeah. Dr. Sal from Markhamel Optometry just sent me a message asking, do we advise optometrists to market on TikTok? My answer is Yes, if that is where your patients are. So be anywhere where people are. And TikTok has an increasing number of people that use it. And the age demographic, as I'm watching, is increasing every day. It's being a lot more widespread. But I wouldn't go on there with boring content. I would really think about how to make it engaging and interesting. That's really what the threshold is for TikTok. Dr. Jenna Juice, who's a big Instagram influencer, went on probably 7 months ago onto TikTok. And I believe she's having pretty good success there as well. So you can go look at her account just for kind of advice.
There's
Those
a
are
few
10.
optometrists that are crushing it on TikTok.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's fun. I have a bonus one. So I had 10 and I went and added 11 as a bonus. And this one really is for those that are maybe a little bit more advanced, but I would say build automation sequences to capture reorders. So the idea here is I buy contact lenses, you know, it's a 3-month supply, 6-month or 12-month. You know, the reorder is going to come up. How can we build out these sequences that know, okay, when this person buys it, let's automate an email, let's automate a text message at the right time with the right message. You can maybe throw coupon codes in just to kind of keep them coming back. This is where you can really experiment and come in. And so looking at different sequences, coming up with that is a great way to keep people sort of coming back and keeping the retention. So those are our tips. I want to reiterate that we have this free gift. We have 3 social posts. I think Trudy said Facebook cover and a post for both social platforms. You can download it. I talked about AccuView Library, and a lot of suppliers have great resources that you can use. Talk to your salespeople, all your sales reps in all industries, just to get the collateral that they've already created and use it. And the last thing I'll leave you with before we jump into any questions for the last few minutes is I did create a book of all about internet marketing, specifically about implementing digital marketing to transform your business. Send me an email, kevin@4ecps.com, with your mailing address if you have not received a copy of this book in the past, and I will have it out to you next week. Granted, I know things take a little bit of a delay right now with shipping, but I'm happy to send that. And so that's sort of a gift. Trudy has put in a URL where you can find all of the different social posts and all of the previous webinars that we have done. If there's a specific topic that you guys would like to have us create, we would love to hear from you. The next one that we're going to be doing is in November, and it is building a marketing plan in under an hour. It'll be myself leading that with one of our other marketing directors, Shai. She's been on the program before and did an excellent job. And we're going to really walk you through in 60 minutes, how could you build a 2021 marketing plan. So, and yes, and absolutely, Wade will bring a copy of the book for you. Let's open up to questions at this point. This doesn't end at the hour mark. It can, but if there are questions, you have Trudy, you have Jill, you have myself, you have some pretty good eye care marketing brain power on the line right now. Please feel free to
share tips. If there's something that's working for you as well, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to open up. Are there any questions that we have from the audience today?
It's quiet audience.
And let's end with this. And if I'll give you guys another minute to put something in. I'm looking for one tip, one big tip from both Trudy and Jill as to, it could be e-commerce, it can be just in general. What's a tip that you can leave people with in closing today's session? Trudy, let's go with you first.
I knew you were going to go with me first.
Always. And I didn't prepare them on this either. I love putting them on the spot.
I mean, I think I say this tip often as my kind of last tip is, build a great foundation before you link an e-store or any product to it, before you drive email marketing, before you do Google ads, build a great foundation, which is your website. And then also just be adaptable right now to the changing buyer, the changing consumer. what's happening in the industry and the market, and be flexible in how you're communicating to them and how you're responding to what's going on, because it's going to be a different landscape, and it's going to take different tactics to really do good business tomorrow.
Great. Jilly, what about you?
My tip is to analyze what's going on. So there's a lot of cool tools out there. One of them is Google Analytics. You want to see what's happening on your online store. So pay attention, like go and look and see what products are moving, what aren't. Make adjustments to the products that are actually being ordered. Maybe even I've had this happen before where we can figure out, and we can even see what items are continuously being abandoned in the cart. You can go in and you can see, oh, this one keeps getting abandoned. What's going on? Especially when you have a big online store, there is room for error. And what I've seen before, I'm like, we'll look at analytics and we go, why is this continually getting abandoned? And then we'll take a look and we'll see a good example is maybe the shipping settings were put in all silly. And all of a sudden, the shipping on that one product is out of control high. So it's just going in there, paying attention. Don't set anything and forget it. With any type of marketing or any type of technology, you got to keep an eye on it to make sure that it's working its best. And then you have to pivot. So pay attention. Don't just leave it. Analyze as much as you can.
Love it. And I'm going to leave you with this. Obviously, the world's different, changes every day. I am rereading the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's a fantastic read, and it just applies differently now, knowing we've all kind of been through as business owners, business leaders, marketers, and it has new context to me now. So if you're up for some reading, and go to Good to Great, and it'll be a great time. So thank you to my panelists. Thank you all for showing up. We look forward to hosting in November. Look for the link. It'll come out probably a week prior, but I think it's on November 30. Do you know the date?
I want to say same
20.
Third week of November. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in a month. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Great. Thank you. Bye. Bye.